The VIP Crew with Vivek, Wallace, and Big P, Percy, Crawford.
The VIP Crew.
You're starting to see some better undercards, and when I look at this one, man, listen, the co-main event, Gary Antoine Russell against Andy Hiroka, that is a really, really good fight and can be a scary fight if you're a Gary Antoine Russell fan. I like both of their styles. They're both southpaws, kind of come forward. But Hiroka got a sneaky little left hand he throws that he's knocked a lot of guys out with. He's on a 10-fight consecutive knockout streak. He's knocked out 19 of 24 guys. Obviously, Russell's knocked out 17 out of 18 guys. So 19 guys, I'm sorry. So this is going to be a very interesting fight. I don't even want to make a prediction for that one. I think I'm going to just watch that one. But very good fight. Obviously, they have Nahir Albright, who is known for getting jumped by the Davis brothers after beating Kelvin Davis, I believe. So he's fought Keyshawn Davis, and that got reversed to a no contest because I think Keyshawn tested positive. He fought and beat Kelvin Davis, and then they jumped him. So a lot going on in Nahir Albright's career, but man, shit, he got Frank Martin,
wild.
So he got to put that to the back burner and come out smoking because Frank Martin not only looked great under Buddy McGirt's tutelage, but he looked really good at 140, knocking out Rances Bartholomew, becoming only the second guy since Gary Antoine Russell did it. And then Richardson Hitchens, who I'm not very big on, but he's a hot guy. He's fighting Oscar Duarte of Ryan Garcia fame. So if you remember Oscar Duarte, he was Ryan's comeback fight after the Tank knockout loss. I think he ended up getting an 8-9 round stoppage of Duarte, but Duarte's won 4 since. Duarte can fight a little bit. I think Richardson Hitchens carefully select his opponent, so he obviously sees something in Duarte. So I would probably think Hitchens should be okay in that one, but that's going to be a good fight as well. This whole card is good, man. It's really a good card if you're a true boxing guy and have kind of seen some of these guys in passing, like a Nahir Albright, Oscar Duarte, and obviously Frank Martin's on his comeback trail at a new weight class.
When we look at Garcia, 26 fights, 24 victories, 20 knockouts. He can land something pretty wicked when he wants as well, and he has the speed to back it up, which means a lot of times you get hit with those shots, you don't even see them coming. How do you think Mario, you were talking a little bit about him being somewhat shop-worn. How do you think Mario approaches this fight with a puncher is dangerous, especially that left hook is Ryan?
I think the saving grace for Barrios is Ryan has fallen in love with his left hook. So you actually see it coming a little bit better nowadays. And Ryan don't bank rounds anymore. Ryan's gotten away from his jab. He's gotten away from the right hand. He's left hook happy. So with that being said, if you can kind of steal some rounds and get in the later rounds, I don't think Ryan's a hat trick type knockout artist where he can just land it Julian Jackson style and get you out of there. It kind of accumulates. He gets your timing down, and eventually he lands it. But if you can get into the 7th, 8th round with a couple round lead on Ryan, I don't see him being, like I say, that kind of magician knockout artist.
Arden Garcia is pretty interesting. I think, and this is not to make excuses, it is what it is, but I think Garcia that we saw at one point kind of shifted after the Tank fight, and Tank, obviously, with that power, I think he was a little afraid in there, not to put it in those words. But if you want to call it for what it is, I think that he was a little intimidated with the power of Rolly. And I think I think that kind of changed his interest in running up in there, if you will. But with Barrios, you have a guy who is almost deceptive power. He only has, I believe, 62% KO ratio. But at the same time, he lands a good shot if you're there to get hit with it. How do you think Garcia handles that element in a fight like this?
I think it depends on what Barrios shows up. He has to throw punches. And I think Barrios is, to his credit, he has a hell of a resume. What comes with a hell of a resume is you can get a little bit shop-worn. I think he's been in some tough fights. Obviously, the Gervonta Davis fight, the Abel Ramos fight was tough. Keith Thurman was a tough fight for him. Hell, Pacquiao at 47 was a tough fight. I think he got a little bit of tread wearing off those tires. I do think if he can bring the pressure that he used to bring, that could make Ryan hesitant, but it also can run you into Ryan's most dangerous weapon, which is his left hook. This is a very weird fight because I don't know which guy is going to show up. We've seen good to maybe even great versions of both of them, and we've seen lackluster to terrible versions of them. So it just depends on which ones show up. I do think you're right. Didn't seem to phase him when he fought Duarte, who's not a knockout artist, but when he got in there with a guy that can thump a little bit, like Rolly, a little bit of hesitancy from Ryan. He's saying it was his shoulder. I guess we'll see Saturday. Ryan has so many distractions. I think Ryan's biggest issue is that no one talks about. Ryan's probably on his sixth trainer. No consistency in this camp. I know he has a big ordeal going with Goosen because Goosen is Barrios' trainer now, and that's who trained him for the Tank fight. And he felt like, Goosen was, revealing secrets in the camp or whatever. A lot of drama with that shit. The old adage is you pay so much attention to the sizzle, you ignore the steak. That's Ryan Garcia. Ryan's never been a world champion. He hasn't accomplished as much as the prestige that's come along with him suggests. So to me, he's a lot of sizzle, but the steak may look like a damn hockey puck on your plate, just overcooked and burnt. This is the fight for me to see if Ryan can kind of cross that hill. The Tank fight ended horribly. The Devin fight went well for him, and then the aftermath was horribly. The Rolly fight ended horribly. So this is a guy that he's never had a world championship. The WBC allows him to come off of a loss, move up in weight, and fight for a world title, which they didn't allow Errol Spence to do against Sebastian Fundora. Now, I understand Errol Spence's ass whooping was a lot worse than what Rolly did to Ryan, but still, he's coming off a loss. He's moving up in weight. They made him get to the back of the line. They pushed Ryan forward. This has kind of been what Ryan's career has been. It's been almost getting rewarded for doing stupid shit. Like, you test positive, don't worry. We'll bring you right back against Duarte as a comeback fight, and then you'll go fight Rolly for a world title. Like, he's been rewarded for dumb shit his whole career. Is this the fight where the lessons learned, or is this the fight where it all backfires? That's subjective. We'll see on Saturday night, but I think Ryan has been a lot of fool's gold, and he can turn that around Saturday, but he's got to show me.
I want to lean Garcia. Like I said earlier, he definitely has the most skills. He's more physically gifted, the speed, the power, but that power is all he relies on. And we know what happens when you have power and you get in there with a guy with a chin to possibly outlast you and a work rate to keep that heat on you. I don't know that Ryan is going to, to take a guy that's coming at him like that. It's like Barrios can go to the body well. He goes to up top well. So if Barrios keeps the pressure on and is not hit with something nasty, I almost can't see how Ryan wins, because Ryan is going to try to pick his spots for that one big shot. Barrios is going to keep his hands moving, which is going to, that's going to work with the judges. So I'm inclined to say you're right on that one, man.
Yeah, man, it's a very difficult fight to pick, and it's a very weird fight, given, like I said, if you go, I don't know if I've ever seen a world champion have back-to-back draws. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy get this much hype who's never been a world champion. So this is either a great matchmaking or horrible matchmaking, and Saturday night will prove that right or wrong. If Ryan can pull this off, man, given the fact that he's been handed the keys to everything, hell, it wouldn't shock me if he got a Pacquiao fight. It would not shock me if he got something huge off beating Mario Barrios, who, Paulie Malignaggi calls the worst champion in boxing history. But Barrios is legit. He's a guy that you got to kind of bring your lunch pail for. I think that's kind of Ryan's issue, though. It's like, what's the point of having the biggest tool belt in the room if you're only going to use one tool? And you see the skills, he's just only using one. So if he can put it all together and beat Barrios, and at 147, I can easily see him fighting Pacquiao. That's a huge fight from a marketing standpoint. You got the kind of like the golden boy versus the blue collar guy all over again.
How do you see something like that working out for Pacquiao? I mean, that would be an interesting fight, because Pacquiao, you really don't know what to expect. What do you think about the possibility of that fight if it were to happen?
I think at 47, going on 48 soon at some point this year, you got to be very careful with the way you match Pacquiao. I thought Mario Barrios was a perfect type of guy, even though I thought Barrios was gigantic for 147. Yeah. Pacquiao has always navigated those big guys. That's not the problem. Ryan's speed would scare me fighting Pacquiao because at an older age, you can see things have slowed down from Pacquiao. I don't know about matching him with a speedy guy like that. He can navigate those big, plotting, slower guys, but to put him in with somebody, I think Ryan's still in his 20s, if I'm not mistaken, who has that quick twitch kind of muscle left hook thing going. I don't know. But I mean, if Pacquiao's still hanging around, it's for the money, and I don't know if there's a bigger money fight out there than Ryan.
Well, you know what? I don't see. I mean, I think that name, as old as he is, will probably be. You and I have always talked off record about feasting on the great ones who are on their way out, and we don't always see that. That would be a well to put on his resume. On a resume, you don't see age, you see name, and if Ryan could get that on his resume, I think that actually would do a lot for him.
Absolutely, especially if he can attach KO to it. That would be huge for his career because, I mean, if you strip Tank off of there and Devin, he's feasted on some guys that he did what he was supposed to do. Even at 47, 48 years old, Manny Pacquiao, like you said, you don't see age, you see the name. If Ryan Garcia can somehow get that fight and stop him, that would be great. But I'm not so Ryan wins Saturday night, so we're definitely putting the cart before the horse.
I hear you on that, brother. That I guess we'll have to wait and see. Should be an interesting night.
The VIP crew with Vivek Wallace and Big P Percy Crawford.
The VIP crew.